Folks, the day is here. We are introducing the Symbiote 6. This should be the new meta-killing team out there. This should probably be the #1 priority for building when it comes to your roster. Let's go ahead and get into the information so we can see why that is indeed the case. Symbiote 6. Tendrils of change are wrapping around Arena, priming the battlefield for a new king, the Symbiote 6. The new kings of Arena will be led by the King in Black himself. No. Fighting by his side will be Venom, along with new recruits Riot, Toxin, and Quicksilver Symbiote. Bond with these fast facts about the Symbiote 6, and then head below for all the details. The Symbiote 6 specialize in Arena, but excel in War and Crucible as well. Quicksilver Symbiote is the key to tackling top Arena teams. Toxin brings the damage and applies negative effects. Riot protects with taunts and steals negative effects from his allies. Now, I already know what these groaning sigh. I heard it. Arena's not important. Well, keep in mind, Arena teams are the strongest teams in Marvel Strike Force. They only come out once a year. The majority of their kit is not locked to a game mode, which makes them extraordinarily powerful. So this team, the Symbiote 6, when they come on the scene, they should change the game. Also, keep in mind, Arena teams usually bring some kind of new mechanic, something that we haven't seen before that kind of foreshadows what's going to be going on in the game. So let's look for that as we start breaking down this team. Arena, War, Crucible, player versus player terrors. The Symbiote 6 are Arena specialists built to climb atop the likes of the Fantastic Four MCU, Blue Marvel, and Professor Xavier. But beware of Annihilus, as the Cosmic Control Rod can nullify the symbiotes. Par for the course. New team draws a line in the sand. This is the beginning of the new meta. Annihilus is the newest mythic character. They don't want to counter him right away, but this is going to help push the old meta out of the way. This squad can also devour squads in Alliance, War, and Crucible who think they're high up on the food chain. Watch who you take a swing at, because the latest and greatest still have a leg up. So we'll think about teams again like Brimstone. Brimstone still looks like it may present a problem for this team. We'll have to break some things down and see what we come up with. A host of problems. One symbiote is a handful, and this team together creates controlled chaos thanks to strong contributions from each new symbiote. Quicksilver Symbiote. The keystone symbiote on this team, Quicksilver Symbiote, brings momentum to the Symbiote 6. Along with fueling the team with speed bar and healing, he redistributes damage taken amongst allies, providing subtle protection to prevent allies from getting focused down. Quicksilver Symbiote's battlefield effect, Hive Mind Haste, bonds in additional advantage to his squad. In Arena, he applies the battlefield effect to the allied side on his first turn with his ultimate. So again, think about how we're playing the game on the allied side. So we have the ball, we're on offense, we're holding the ball, we're the allies. He applies the effect to the allied side on the team that's holding the ball. That's us. It will prevent the Symbiote 6 characters from having their speed bar turned off. Huge. It doubles the efficacy of filling speed bar. Think about what that means. Doubles the speed bar increase. We'll have to see what that means in real time, but that's ridiculous. It gives a team extra sustain via drain. All right. Toxin. Toxin is the Symbiote 6 biggest source of damage and turns enemy weaknesses into permanent problems. He has the highest damage stat among the squad. He gains assists now on every Symbiote 6 ally's turn. Super important point there. Super important point as we look at Toxin. Every time someone takes a turn, Toxin will assist. Okay? He applies bleeds throughout the fight. Exposed is where Toxin injects debilitating effects into enemies. When an enemy uses their special ability or drops below 50% health, Toxin will apply Exposed to that character. This is key in bringing down enemy defenses. Why? Because it prevents exposed enemies from gaining stealth, evade, or death proof, so they can't hide. You will be able to get the KO. It flips charges into bleeds. It applies heal block for 3 turns. Now, huge point right there. Huge point. Normally, as we go through and people are able to decay or cleanse, they clear effects, it's usually 2 turns. This individual is putting a negative effect on you for 3 turns. So even if they were to remove some of that, they still will possess the negative effect, meaning they are still controlled. Keep that in mind. Mythic characters also get trauma for 2 turns. So this will enable us to put control effects that we otherwise cannot on mythic characters. In arena, the trauma will stick to enemies who it wouldn't normally apply to, i.e. Odin. Riot. Riot is the key to surviving teams who have that heavy opening attack or rely on covering squads and negative effects. His incredibly high health stat paired with his high resistance makes taking down Riot difficult. On spawn, he gains taunt, barriers the team, and applies immunity. The first time a Symbiote 6 ally drops below half health, Riot reduces trauma on himself and that ally, transfers any negative effects from that ally to himself, then clears and heals each one that's cleared. Riot creates a 1-2 punch with Toxin's negative effects. With Riot's ultimate rebound chain, Riot's ultimate rebound chain spreads those negative effects that are being dealt by his teammates across the field. All right, that's a nice overview of the team. Let's now get into the nuts and bolts and break down how this is going to work. First off, we have Symbiote Quicksilver, speed of 132. That puts him at the top 10, just outside, the top 10 for speed in the game. There are a couple characters that will go faster than him, notably Damon Hellstrom. So that's why maybe in war, for sure, Brimstone will still have the advantage. However, there are some mechanics that we're going to see that can push this stat even higher, which is going to make this team extraordinarily dangerous. Symbiote Quicksilver is a hero, global bio brawler. All these characters are bio, so we need to keep that in mind. We want to start stacking that gear, that bio gear. Symbiote Spider-Verse, Symbiote 6. Spider-Verse, also a good tag if you're a newer player. This is one way you can get Shuri. Not that you need Shuri, but it gives you those, we can get those items for powering our characters up. And just having an extra legendary character can help qualify you to get into certain other game modes, even if you don't build that character up. Just having them helps you qualify to get in certain other game modes. Our ISO 8 and counterattack, you're going to attack that target for damage. Some of it's piercing. You will steal 10% health. Redistribute that to self. It bypasses the heal block. If you're going to attack another symbiote, they're going to do less damage, and it does not reduce the max health of that ally. So that is something that will be for all these characters. If they attack each other, less damage, they will not reduce the max health. Another thing that's also very important is that ISO counter and assist. Pay close attention to that on every character on this team, because this is something that has a potential to happen frequently. It might change our mind on which characters we do for which ISO, because again, these are things that are going to be happening very frequently on this team. So we want to pay attention to what they do and how they work. So again, we just read it. So most of the time, again, there's differences. Generally speaking, the counterattack, the ISO on this team is the same. There's very little difference. There's going to be more damage in this case, and the attack cannot be blocked or dodged in its natural setting. So if you need to use it to make a KO, you can do that. His special ability is top speed. Energy costs 5/5, so it is available right away. Attack primary target for damage. Reduce speed bar on that opponent by 10%. Chain to 4 adjacent targets. More damage. Reduce speed bar by 10%. If this character has 2 Symbiote 6 allies, you're going to also put silence and disrupted on those targets. Counterattack will break the chain. This attack cannot be blocked or dodged. So you got damage out there, reduction in speed bar. You have a fast character. This could be a good opening move, but in most cases, we're going to want to start, in almost all cases, we're going to want to start with the ultimate Mach 10 Blitz. So again, this character is going to go first on the team. If we drop the ultimate here, we're going to apply immunity for 2 turns to self and all Symbiote 6 allies. Attack all enemies for damage, and then we're going to do this other stuff. Clear the revive once, all enemies. Clear charged on all enemies. Steal 5% of each target's health and redistribute that to the Symbiote 6. This will bypass heal block. It's going to top you off a little bit if you manage to take some damage. Again, Damon Hellstrom can go before us. If you got 2 Symbiote 6 allies, reduce the duration of all positive effects by 2 on all enemies. So anything that they've built up so far, you're able to remove that, and you're going to give them slow for 2 turns and silence for 2 turns to all enemies. In Arena, clear all battlefield effects on your side and apply the battlefield effect Hive Mind Haste to the allied side. This battlefield effect cannot be cleansed, cannot be cleared. It cannot be replaced by another battlefield effect. It will last until 6 characters, allies or enemies, have completed their turns. So you're going to go before Franklin in the arena setting. You're going to put this down. Franklin is still going to go, but you're going to go before him. Maybe we'll be able to put those silences out there. He won't be able to silence us. It's possible that he will, just depending on the composition of the team, but he will not be able to put the Fantastic Four MCU battlefield effect up. And for 6 turns, we now have a significant advantage that we want to make sure that we take advantage of for 6 character turns. Hive Mind Haste is that battlefield effect. Let's see what it does. This character and non-summoned Symbiote 6 allies cannot have their ability to fill speed bar for self and allies prevented. So this is why we're going to want to lead off with Quicksilver with this ability. When this character or a non-summoned Symbiote 6 ally fills that speed bar, the amount filled is doubled. So during this window of opportunity, any speed bar fill that you have is doubled. That is ridiculous. This character and all Symbiote 6 allies will get 100% drain. The attack is unavoidable and cannot be blocked. So we'll just keep in mind, if we say fill speed bar, those words are very important. If you see the words fill speed bar during this window here, it's doubled. Passive ability, Symbiotic Speedster. On spawn and on turn, gain 2 evade. So outside of war, we will be able to dodge that opening attack from Damon. War, you can't dodge it. Outside of war, we will be able to dodge that attack. On Symbiote 6 allies' turn, fill speed bar for self and all Symbiote 6 allies by 7%. This is huge. Huge. So everybody else, think about it. All the other characters as we go through, they're slowly getting their speed increased. They're being brought forward. Whatever their base speed is for the next couple turns, especially, right? Especially when that battlefield effect is active, because that's doubled. So that's now 14%. It's now 14% instead of 7. Doubled. Every symbiote right now. So the next person to go, I believe, activates this, because this will already have happened. It's already going to have happened. Bring people's speed forward. Some people will negate that. But when that battlefield effect is up, everybody else is being brought forward. This is going to be one of the reasons why this team is going to be so devastating. If any character has 2 Symbiote 6 allies, on any turn end, heal self, so Quicksilver, and all symbiote allies for 2% of this character's max health, then redistribute your total squad health evenly. So they're going to keep it. The team's health bar is kind of going to be like one thing that's going to keep everybody topped off. Initially, the danger is, as people get brought down, you have a propensity to take a big hit and wipe multiple members. So the pros and cons to that. Enemies can only gain bonus speed through positive effects and cannot generate barriers. So we got to have this individual on the team. He stops the speed manipulation unless the person, again, has positive effects to do that, and they cannot generate barrier. There are teams who that's part of their defensive measure, is just to continually replenish barrier. This character says you cannot do that. You're going to have to fight them straight up in that situation. The speed and focus of this character and each ally can only be reduced by negative effects. So huge advantage with that battlefield effect. You will have a window where you're able to gain speed and other people cannot. Right? In this meta where there's these people that say you can't do that, you have this opportunity where you will be able to gain speed and other people will not. Big deal. Toxin, speed 130. Now, with that speed bump, I'm looking at him like he has a speed of 139 for his attack. Does that make sense? He should be able to go inside of that first window. He gets a boost in speed. So it's actually more than that because I counted 7%. So it's actually more than that. But that brings him up to, again, these like the third highest member in the game speed wise. Quicksilver, Symbiote will be second only to, I think it's Black Widow. Now, this is just doing rough math. That's not actually how it works. But as you can see, this is going to ramp up quickly, right? Every character gives the next ones more speed. This is very interesting. It's a little different than how we did it with Carnage. More turns, more speed. It can get out of hand really quickly. So he is a villain, city, bio, brawler, symbiote, Spider-Verse. Isolate, counterattack, and assists. He's going to attack for damage, piercing, prolong the duration of all negative effects, except ability block, stun, and trauma by 1 up to a maximum of 3. So I think, again, this is what this team does. He's now giving you more negative effects, more than 2. So even if you were to reduce them, you still have them. They can still be manipulated. They can still be spread. And again, keep in mind, Toxin assists every single time a Symbiote 6 member goes. So every time this is going to happen. So that might have something to do with the targets we choose. It might not. It's just something to keep in mind. If that target has exposed and they don't have the ability block, you're going to give them ability block here on the ISO attack. When this character has to attack another symbiote, it's going to do less damage. So every time you go, you're increasing the duration of a negative effect on that target. Once they get down to 50%, or if they use that special to get the exposed, and you're able to start ability blocking people. And obviously you can spread that around with other characters. So here's the baseline of that ability. It's going to do a little bit more damage. That's the point there. Now, what's interesting about that is, if we understand this correctly, his special ability here, bulk up, energy is 3/5. So we're going to have to generate energy for Toxin to use his abilities. I think, again, that's just maybe to keep some of this in check. We'll see. Gain offense up for 2 turns, stun for 2 turns to the primary target, attack primary and adjacents for damage, and apply 3 bleed. On defense, this attack will target the controller enemy with the highest damage instead of the primary target, ignoring taunt and stealth. So just be mindful if you're going against a team on defense. This character will go out of turn with this ability, at least, and attack someone who you are trying to protect with your taunt. It's unavoidable, cannot be blocked. Ultimate ability is Toxic Terror. Same deal, 3 of 5. Attack primary and adjacent targets for damage. 10% additional damage for each positive and negative effect on this character. Clear all positive effects. So I believe a little bit of confusion there. So either he's clearing all the, I believe he's clearing all the positive effects on the opposing character. If the target has exposed before the attack, you're going to take 2 of those positive effects, except for taunt, to yourself, and the attack cannot miss. Passive, the Son of Carnage. Characters killed by Toxin cannot be revived. On Symbiote 6 ally turn, gain assist now. So that's what we said. Any of the Symbiote 6 allies that are taking a turn, Toxin is going to assist, and he's going to prolong the negative effect. So whatever you put down, he's making it longer, right? So we're up to 3. So we're making it so individuals will not be able to reduce those negative effects. On kill, clear all negative effects from him and fill speed bar by 10%. So if you were to get a KO inside of that window, and now you have a 20% speed bar increase. If this character has 2 Symbiote 6 allies, when an enemy drops below 50% or uses their special, you're going to flip all of their positive effects to bleed. You're going to put exposed on that character. If they have that exposed, you're going to flip charges to bleed. Apply heal block 3 turns. If they're mythic, trauma 2 turns. In arena, you get extra focus to make sure that this happens. So as we see, 2 Symbiote 6 allies is the key. So the 3-piece, the new 3 characters are the ones you can primarily be focusing on. We'll be adding those other 2 individuals. Again, in the other 2 game modes, you probably just want the whole team. In arena, the main foundational 3 plus 2 others. If this character has 2 Symbiote 6 allies, enemies with exposed can't get death proof, stealth, or evade, just making them more susceptible to being KO'd. In arena, if they couldn't get trauma, they can now get trauma, but that does not ignore immunity. You still have to get rid of that immunity. Their assist chance and resistance is lowered by 100%. So once they fall to that level and they get that exposed on them, you will be placing negative effects. Their resistance again is reduced by 100%. So up until now, if they were able to resist things, it looks like, generally speaking, that simply will not be the case. Next up is Riot, speed 128. Villain City Bioprotector Spider-Verse Symbiote 6. Speed again 128, but now as a 3rd character, right? He's really being brought forward. There have been other people that already went. The speed will continue to fill. I'm curious to see how quickly these individuals are able to make their attacks. His ISO, counterattack, and assist. Again, remember, these are things that can happen frequently on this team. Attack for damage, piercing, and apply offense down. So he will bring offense down whenever that happens. If he's attacking his friends, he will do less damage and will not do any maximum health damage. Again, the regular version of that attack is more damage. Chain to 1 target. Did he have a chain? He did not have a chain on the ISO. So when he does it normally, chain to 1 target and also apply offense down and give him that damage as well. Counterattack breaks the chain. The attack cannot be blocked. Special, Symbiote Rampage. Attack primary and adjacent targets for damage. Reduce the duration of all negative effects on self and all Symbiote 6 allies by 2. And apply defense up for 2 turns. So that's normally what we see, right? That's a good illustration there. That's normally what we see. Reduce effect by 2. This team, though, is allowing you to place 3s, right? Negative effects on stacks of 3 on the opponent. So they should not be able to reduce that. You're also going to give yourself defense up. In arena, if you got 2 Symbiote 6, reduce the duration of all negative effects on all allies. Instead, heal self for 15% of this character's max health, gain taunt, and this attack cannot be blocked. So reapply the taunt with the special ability. Most likely this is what we'll lean into on the 2nd turn. If not, we got Riot Act. 7/7, so it's ready to go right away. Attack primary target for damage. Prolong the duration of all negative effects. Keep those negative effects going. It won't work on ability block, stun, or trauma, but you can prolong them all by 1. Rebound chain to 4 targets for damage. You can spread all those negative effects except for stuns. You can spread the trauma. You can spread that ability block. You just can't spread the stun. If this character has 2 Symbiote 6, apply trauma for 2 turns to primary and secondary targets. Wow. Interesting. So you're going to spread it, and you're going to apply it to those individuals next to him. Counterattack breaks a chain. This attack is unavoidable and cannot be blocked. So since counterattacks break the chain, we got to sometimes keep in mind who it is we're dealing with. Do we attack the person that we want to attack? Or do we attack somebody on the end and work our way around? Right? We have to have some thought in that matter. We don't want to get the chain interrupted and lose out on the person that we're trying to control. Passive, punishing progeny. On spawn, taunt for 3 turns. So once again, characters could reduce it, will still be taunting. Bury yourself and all Symbiote 6 allies for 30% of his max health and apply immunity. The first time this character or Symbiote 6 ally drops below 50% health, you're going to reduce the duration of trauma on that ally by 2. And if Riot doesn't have trauma, you're going to bring all those negative effects from that ally to him, clear all those negative effects, then heal for 5% per negative effect cleared. Kind of works like Deadpool. Deadpool, though, will heal 15%. So it's less than that. The healing will not be as potent as Deadpool, but the effect is similar. Barrier that ally for 30% of this character's max health. Apply Safeguard for 2 turns. Immunity for 2 turns. And 2 death proof. Safeguard and immunity are always an amazing combination. While this character has taunt, this character cannot gain stun. He's starting out with taunt. You got to attack him anyway. They will not allow you to stun him while he has that effect. Very interesting. Now we're going to get to the reworks. We got Venom. We were told that he was going to get that new some love. There it is. Pretty decent and healthy stat increase. One of the weaknesses of Venom, though, is his speed. All right, he's very slow. He was very slow when the game started way back in the day. He's very slow now. I believe his speed is 107. But keep in mind, every time another symbiote goes, that speed is being increased. I want to see how this plays out. His basic attack is Maul. So these are the adjustments to the basic. Attack primary target for damage. Flip 2 positives into negatives. He's going to apply a bleed and a heal block. Okay, so he's going to do heal block. We had another symbiote that also can do heal blocks. Fill speed bar. It says fill by 20%. Pardon me. So that would mean when Venom gets to go, right? If he can go inside of that window, that is a 40% speed increase. All right. He has added there that he's going to do less damage if he attacks his buddies, and the attack cannot be dodged. And he gets that fill speed on the assist. That's interesting, right? That can change things very quickly. Very quickly. That can change things. All right. His special ability, what's changed here? Let's just look and see. Violate. Attack primary target for damage. Apply ability block for 2 turns. Heal block 2 turns. 3 bleeds for 2 turns. Bonus attack. So he already did those things, right? He already gave you the negative effects. Then he's going to bonus attack. Prolong the duration of those negative effects. So he just gave you all those things for 2 turns. Now you have them all for 3 turns. Except for the ability block, stun, and trauma. This attack cannot be dodged. So once again, we're trying to keep those negative effects attached to our opponents. It's going to be very, very important for this team. On is a passive. We'll have to go back and look at his ultimate in the game real quick, but let's talk about this right now. His passive, Symbiosis. On his turn, he's going to heal for 15% of his max health. Defense up for 2 turns and all symbiote allies. So it's going to take a minute to get to his turn, but when it does, you got defense up on your team. Gain, so that's not fill, that's different. Gain 10% speed up to maximum of 30% speed. So by showing up, his speed, this is how we're making him faster. His speed is increased. So it's up to like 117-ish, right? When he starts the match just by passive. He's still very slow. Every time he takes a turn, though, his speed increases. When an enemy gains heal block, so Venom can give heal block, and we saw other characters also can hand out heal block. When somebody gets the heal block, apply counter to Venom or a random ally that does not have counter. So you have somebody else that's going to get a chance to go. So as we were saying, like maybe it's Venom. Right? So maybe it's Venom. The area of effect attack hits from someone like Franklin or something like that. Whoever has the counter is going to attack. If it's Venom, his speed is going to get that giant fill And then he's going to be able to go early, very early in the match. Again, this is random, but it is something to keep in mind. Somebody is going to have, because other characters apply heal block, somebody is going to have counter because of Venom, and something else is going to happen. It's random, but just think about some of the possibilities and be prepared for the opportunities when they present themselves. While this character or any Spider-Verse has the counter, they get an additional 15% crit chance. If this character has 2 symbiote allies, brawler and controller enemies will not be able to spawn with offense up. So we're stopping that initial, alpha strike attack. At least we're slowing it down so it will not be as potent. And until Venom takes his first turn, lower the crit chance of all enemies by 100%. Again, we're just reducing the chance of getting that first turn annihilation. Okay. Let's go quickly to the game. So Venom's ultimate ability is Corruption. Attack primary and adjacent targets for damage, apply heal block for 2 turns, offense down for 2 turns, and he will spread all negative effects from the primary target to all adjacent targets. It will not spread stun. Clear all negative effects from him and the most injured ally. The attack cannot be dodged. So just keeping in mind, we're able to, some of that is strategic. Do we want to do damage to that person, or do we want to spread those effects so we can spread them again? All right, that's something to be considered, always having a consideration when you're dealing with a symbiote team. Now let's talk about Null. Modest in stat increase, not much. They're giving him a little boost, not much. He's already a very strong character. And so now we know, right? Well, why were we keep getting that echoes, the shadow of the echoes? Now we know they wanted people to have Null. We also know why people now they have defenses against darkness, because he's being incorporated into a regular team. He's already ridiculously strong. Think about him with the Hive Mind team. Team was not formulated for him, and he's really strong on that team. Now he has a team that he's actually built around. It's going to be ridiculous. His ISO 8 attack and assist, apply darkness to the primary target, attack primary and adjacent targets for damage, and apply slow. Mind control a random enemy with darkness to attack the most injured enemy. Those controlled characters gain 20% damage per darkness on that character for that attack, up to a maximum of 200% damage. If you're going to attack one of your allies, you're not going to put darkness on them. And if they're Symbiote 6, you're not going to reduce that max health, and you're going to do less damage. So this is the basic attack with that, and all that's added there is it cannot be blocked or dodged. His special ability is Symbiote Cyclone. There are no changes to the ability. The thing that does change is Carnage. The Enraged Carnage gains the Symbiote 6 tag. That's all we have for the slides. So let's go to the game and look at Null to see what other things will happen, starting with that special ability. Symbiote Cyclone. If this character does not have trauma, transfer all negative effects from each ally to Null. They're going to flip those negative effects, copy 3 random positive effects that they now have a bunch of positive effects, except for stealth and taunt from self to each ally. So again, we have another opportunity to just take negative effects. He's going to flip them and spread them back, the positive, to the team. Heal self for 15% of this character's max health. Attack primary and adjacent targets for damage. It's piercing damage, 350% piercing, all of it's piercing, and apply darkness. The first time this ability is used in a match, you're going to summon that Enraged Carnage. The summoned Carnage gains Safeguard for 2 turns, defense up for 2 turns. The attack is unavoidable and cannot be blocked. Let's remind ourselves about what that little guy does. Is there anything here that we can use? He has a passive ability. When an enemy drops below 25%, you're going to fill speed bar by 30% for him and a random Null ally. So it says fill speed bar. So if this happens inside of your window, right, that's a 60% health increase, speed increase. Meaning definitely he's going to be going again, more than likely, and Null is going to be going again. We probably wouldn't lead off with that ability, but this is just something to keep in mind. On kill, you're going to apply vulnerable to enemy with the lowest resistance that doesn't have a vulnerable. When any enemy has taunt, extra 50% crit damage. Baby Carnage's ultimate, absolute carnage. If the primary target is above 50% health, give them trauma for 2 turns, disrupted 2 turns, bleed 2 turns. If they're below 50% health, offense down 2 turns, defense down 2 turns, and slow for 2 turns. You're going to give yourself offense up, defense up, and speed up for that same duration. So you will have some negative effects out there that you can spread to other people. And that's what we're talking about, right? For this team. Attack primary target for 500% piercing. Give them some more bleeds. The attack cannot be dodged. Slaughter is the special. Attack primary target for damage. 100% extra damage per negative effect. So this is a KO move, but be mindful that when we do it, it clears all the negative effects from that target. We might not want to do this unless you're sure you're going to get the KO. Attack all adjacent targets for 250% damage. It's basic. Will attack the primary target for damage. The primary target has a negative effect. Chain, right? 1 or 2 other targets, more damage. Spread 2 of those negative effects to those secondary targets. It won't spread stun. Counterattack breaks the chain. So he could also be called in, since he will have the Symbiote 6 trait. He could be called in. We'll see how that affects things. Now, going back to Null, his ultimate ability, Oblivion Calls. Attacks all enemies for damage. Apply slow for 2 turns. Opponents are going to have slow, and we're steadily increasing our speed every time a symbiote character goes. Just something to keep in mind. Trauma for 2 turns, darkness to a target. If they're not exhausted, clear all battlefield effects on the enemy side. Something to keep in mind, right? Ally side, enemy side. Apply the battlefield effect enveloping darkness to the enemy side. This attack is unavoidable and cannot be counterattacked. What does enveloping darkness do? Just a good reminder. On the enemy turn, you give a darkness, right? Not a big deal, but it will flip immunity on the enemy. And on that enemy's turns end, after they take their turn, they're going to get a slow up to a maximum of 3. The battlefield effect lasts until cleared or to the end of the match. So we have some slow we can spread around. His passive is a thing that is, it's going to be ridiculous on this team. Characters killed by Null cannot be revived. On spawn, gain defense up for 2 turns. Null will have defense up. And he's going to give a darkness to the enemy with the highest damage right off the bat. On this character or any ally's turn, heal 5% of this character's max health per enemy with darkness. If this character's health is full, you're going to start giving them barrier for 5% instead. All right. Here's some of the craziness right here. Gain 50% assist chance plus 15 per villain ally. There are some villains on our team, and an additional 15 per symbiote ally. So if you have the entire team, you're well over 100% assist chance. So even if that assist chance was able to be reduced, so some people say reduced by 100%, you will still be assisting in most cases. So a person will attack. Null will assist. Toxin will also assist. Every symbiote attack, this will happen. That's crazy. Gain 10% speed per symbiote ally. Symbiote allies gain 15% speed and piercing. So this is his passive ability, right? So this just happens. This just happens because he showed up, right? This is his passive ability. So on that team, people will have an additional 15% speed. His speed is going to go up. It says 10% per symbiote ally. So that's another 40. That's a 40% speed boost for him just because he showed up. Some of that, again, can be resisted by other characters. But when we put that battlefield effect up, or if you're fighting people that aren't manipulating speed, that's going to be significant. That's going to be significant. So, and even if the speed isn't something that's being affected, the automatic assist chance also very, very significant. Don't forget the piercing damage on the rest of the symbiote team, who now all have drain, right? This character cannot gain trauma. He's not going to be stunned. He can't be slowed by slow. This character's speed his speed bar cannot be reduced. Enemies cannot become empowered. Remind ourselves what darkness does. Enemy turn, if they have darkness, you're going to mind control that enemy to attack the most injured enemy. The attack gains 20% damage. I guess we don't need to read this because we saw it in the other text, but be mindful that, like it says here, you get 10% drain and 10% speed for each enemy with darkness, up to a maximum of 50%. So that's another 50% speed and drain given at least to this character. Excuse me, not just for this character, for him and all symbiote allies. More drain, more speed as the darkness ramps up. We know that some people can remove darkness, but if they can't, this is going to start to stack relatively quickly. Lower damage reduction, damage overall, and resistance by 25% for all enemies with darkness. There's no upper limit to that. So that can get out of hand, right? It said this effect cannot be resisted, but we know there's characters that can deal with it. So that's the team, guys. That's the team. This has the potential to be amazing. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Keep in mind, we know that, right? Arena has changed. People might say, well, this doesn't matter because Arena doesn't matter anymore. But keep in mind, Arena teams are the strongest teams in the game. They only come out once a year. Overwhelming majority of their abilities are not tied to a game mode. They have incredible synergy and they bring new mechanics that we haven't seen before. In this case, it looks like prolonging negative effects higher than can be cleared or reduced. Okay? Meaning that when we put it on them, it's going to stick. It's going to stick. I'm excited for the team. Now we know what characters are on there. Reworks are null. You can't farm null if you don't have them already. But if you got those diamonds, if you roll the dice, if you were able to get some of those symbiote orbs and you got diamonds, I don't got any on my null. But hey, man, if you got diamonds, hey, man, you're going to be a happy camper. Venom, if you don't have him maxed out, there's a newer player. We can start farming him. I wouldn't build him yet. This is a couple teams away, right? This is going to be after. Right, I don't know where we are in the build structure. We're working on Shadow Conclave. We're working on Exalted X-Men. This is going to be after that. So if we're free to play, just keep that in mind. Start farming. Don't start building. I'm excited for the team. Symbiotes are amazing. We're ushering in the next phase of Marvel Strike Force by entering a new arena team. Let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't seen these videos, please check them out. As always, they're legit.